Good morning 4B, this is your Monday English video to explain what we're going to be doing today for English. I hope you all had a lovely weekend, had some time to relax and are hopefully ready and raring to go for some more writing this morning. I've been so impressed with the work that you guys have sent me, so thank you so much for your parents for taking the time to send the email and to you for completing the work. I think we're doing a really good job of keeping ourselves occupied whilst we're at home, hopefully. Okay, so we are going to be thinking about another malevolent character today. We're going to keep going with our Roald Dahl theme that we've kind of started since we've been working at home. And today we're going to move on to a different story. We're going to leave George's Marvellous Medicine in last week, and today we're going to be thinking about something else. We're going to be thinking about my favourite Roald Dahl story. We're going to be thinking about Matilda. I wonder if you can think of any malevolent characters from the story of Matilda. If you've read it before, you might have a really good idea. The character that we're going to be thinking about today is going to be the Trunchbull. She is an amazing character. And if you get chance, there is a brilliant movie that was made way back in like 1996 or something terrifying, where the Trunchbull is played brilliantly by an actress called Pam Ferris. She's just absolutely brilliant. It's a PG, so I can't share a copy of it with you today, but if you get chance after you've done this lesson, it might be a really good place to go to, find it and kind of curl up and have a watch, because she is just brilliant. So we're going to be thinking about this malevolent character today. That is our learning objective. We're really good at malevolent characters now. We've got some brilliant vocabulary, and I'm hoping we're going to be able to explain what the Trunchbull is like really confidently. So I'm going to start reading from the chapter titled The Trunchbull. Normally, Miss Honey was terrified of the headmistress and kept well away from her, but at this moment she felt ready to take on anybody. She knocked on the door of the dreaded private study. "Enter!" boomed the deep and dangerous voice of Miss Trunchbull. Miss Honey went in. Now, if you're making some notes for me, 4B, about the amazing vocabulary you can hear, I would really expect you to have written down boomed, because that's how her voice sounds, and deep and dangerous. I think they're great descriptive words that we've heard already. Now, most head teachers are often chosen because they possess a number of fine qualities. They understand children, they have children's best interests at heart, and they are sympathetic. They are fair, and they are deeply interested in education. Miss Trunchbull possessed none of these qualities, and how she ever got her present job was a mystery. She was above all a formidable female. Another lovely piece of description there. Formidable means don't mess with her. And female, obviously being a woman, but I love the two F words together there. Formidable female. She had once been a famous athlete, and even now the muscles were still clearly in evidence. You could see them in her bull neck. She has a really big neck, worth writing that down. In her big shoulders, definitely worth writing that down. In her thick arms, in her sinewy wrists, and in her powerful legs. Now, this is just suggesting how big the Trunchbull really is, that she has all these massive muscles on her arms, and her sinewy wrists mean that you can probably see all of her tendons and all of her muscles moving in her wrists. Looking at her, you got the feeling that this was someone who could bend iron bars and tear telephone directories in half. For some of you, you might not know what a telephone directory is. We use the internet these days to find a telephone number if we need to get hold of somebody. If we want to phone for a plumber to come and fix something at our house, we'd just search it on the internet, wouldn't we? Whereas years ago, there used to be a big book called a telephone directory, which would live in your house and would have the phone numbers of all the people that you might want to call. If you wanted to call a mechanic, or you wanted to call, like I said, a plumber, or order a pizza, all of the numbers would be in this telephone directory. They were really thick. So if you were able to tear one, my goodness, you would be incredibly strong. Her face, I'm afraid, was neither a thing of beauty nor a joy forever. She had an obstinate chin, quite pointed perhaps, and really horrible looking, an obstinate chin. A cruel mouth, I'm sure we've met that already when we've talked about other characters. And small, arrogant eyes. That means she thinks she knows everything. Small, arrogant eyes. And as for her clothes, they were, to say the least, extremely odd. She always had on a brown cotton smock. We can see this in the picture I've got up here. She's wearing this brown thing. Kind of looks to me like it's made out of kind of like a brown sack material almost, which was pinched around the waist with a wide leather belt. The belt was fastened in front with an enormous silver buckle. Again, we can see that on the picture. The massive thighs which emerged from out of the smock were encased in a pair of extraordinary breeches, kind of like trousers, bottle green in colour and made of coarse twill. So they wouldn't have been comfy, not soft material, coarse material. Bottle green, I quite like that, with a hyphen in between, bottle green, as a descriptive phrase. I can also see from the picture it looks like her scarf here is bottle green too. These breeches reached to just below the knees, and from there on down she sported green stockings with turn-ups on, which displayed her calf muscles to perfection. I imagine these calf muscles would be quite big, because she's obviously quite athletic. On her feet she wore flat-heeled brown brogues with leather straps. These are a type of flat shoe. She looked, in short, more like a rather eccentric and bloodthirsty follower of the staghounds rather than a headmistress of a nice school for children. Roldah's saying she looks like she's about to go fox hunting in what she's wearing, really. Go hunting for different animals, fox hunting or stag hunting, not working with small children. When Miss Honey entered the study, Miss Trunchbull was standing beside her huge desk with a look of scowling impatience on her face. Scowling means frowning. She's kind of frowning in this picture, isn't she? I'm frowning now thinking about it. She's definitely frowning. I think we need to include that in our description. "Yes, Miss Honey," she said. "What is it that you want? You're looking very flushed and flustered this morning. What's the matter with you? Have those little stinkers been flicking spitballs at you?" "No, headmistress, nothing like that." "Well, what is it then? Get on with it. I'm a busy woman." As she spoke, she reached out and poured herself a glass of water from a jug that was always on her desk. "There was a little girl in my class called Matilda Wormwood," Miss Honey began. "That's the daughter of the man who owns Wormwood Motors in the village," Miss Trunchbull barked. She barked. She's not talking very nicely, this Miss Trunchbull, is she? She's kind of shouting. She's kind of barking, a bit like an animal would. Bark's a great verb we could use. She hardly ever spoke in a normal voice. She either barked or shouted. "An excellent person, Wormwood," she went on. "I was only in there yesterday. He sold me a car, almost new, only done 10,000 miles. Previous owner was an old lady who took it out once a year at the most. A terrific bargain. Yes, I liked Wormwood. A real pillar of our society. He told me the daughter that he had was a bad lot, though. He said to watch her. He said that if anything bad ever happened in the school, it was certain to be his daughter who did it. I haven't met the little brat yet, but she'll know about it when I do. Her father says she's a real wart." I don't think we hear teachers at school use this kind of language, do we? We don't talk about people like this. Definitely not. Miss Trunchbull is very different to the teachers that you know. "Oh no, Miss Headmistress, that can't be right," Miss Honey cried. "Oh yes, Miss Honey, it's darn well right. In fact, now I come to think about it, I bet it was she who put that stink bomb under my desk here first thing in the morning. The place stank like a sewer. Of course it was her. I shall have to have her for that. You see if I don't. What does she look like? Nasty little worm. I'll be bound. I have discovered, Miss Honey, during my long career as a teacher, that a bad girl is a far more dangerous creature than a bad boy. What's more, they're much harder to squash. Squashing a bad girl is like trying to squash a blue bottle. You bang down on it and the darn thing isn't there. Nasty, dirty things little girls are. I'm glad I never was one." Oh, she sounds just like Grandma from George's Marvellous Medicine, doesn't she? The way she's suggesting she was never a child. Very strange. She's kind of suggesting she's going to be quite violent, isn't she? She's going to squash Matilda. She's going to bash her down, bang down on her. Violent would definitely be a word I'd be writing down here, guys. "Oh, but you must have been a little girl once, Headmistress. Surely you were." "Not for long, anyway," Miss Trunchbull barked, grinning. "I became a woman very quickly." She's completely off her rocker, Miss Honey thought to herself. She's as balmy as a bed what bug? Amazing simile. Balmy as a bed bug. Brilliant. Write it down, guys. Miss Honey stood resolutely before the headmistress. For once she was not going to be browbeaten. I must tell you, headmistress, she said, that you are completely mistaken about Matilda putting that stink bomb under your desk. I am never mistaken, said Miss Honey. Sorry, I'm never mistaken, Miss Honey, said the Trunchbull. But, headmistress, the child only arrived in school this morning and came home straight to the classroom. Don't argue with me, for heaven's sake, woman, that this little brute Matilda, or whatever her name is, put a stink bomb in my study. There's no doubt about it. Thank you for suggesting it. But I didn't suggest it, headmistress. Of course you did. Now, what is it you want, Miss Honey? Why are you wasting my time? I came to talk to you about Matilda, headmistress. I have extraordinary things to report about the child. May I please tell you what happened in class just now? I suppose she set fire to your skirt and scorched your knickers, Miss Trunchbull snorted. She's not very nice, is she? I wonder if you can think of any adjectives to describe her so far. No, no, Miss Honey cried out. Matilda is a genius. At the mention of this word, Miss Trunchbull's face turned purple and her whole body seemed to swell up like a bullfrog. A genius, she shouted. What piffle are you talking about, madam? You must be out of your mind. I have her father's word for it that this child is a gangster. Her father is wrong, headmistress. Don't be a twerp, Miss Honey. You have met the little beast for only half an hour, and her father has known her whole life. Now, Miss Trunchbull is not a very nice woman, is she? She's using words that are very unkind. She's behaving in a very cruel way. She isn't a nice person. If you've read Matilda, you'll be familiar, or even seen the movie like I talked about, you'll be familiar with this scene, which is my absolute favourite Trunchbull scene, where she picks up, I can't remember the name of the child, she picks her up by her pigtails and she spins her round over her head and throws her out of the school. I mean, that would just never happen in reality, would it? But I mean, it is the funniest thing you'll ever see if you watch this clip of the movie. And the fact that this character exists is just amazing. I'd like you to have a go today, 4B, at describing this character. I think there's so much that you could do with her. You could even try and write it in a really creative way if you wanted, like an advert for not an advert for a teacher, almost what we're not looking for. I've written down at the top here on my slide lots of the words that we met whilst we were reading that extract. I've written down the word formidable. I've written about her big shoulders and her sinewy wrists and her powerful legs. So if you want to pause the video at this point so you can hang on to some of that vocabulary, you can do. I then had a go at writing a part of a description of Miss Trunchbull underneath, which I'll read for you now. Miss Trunchbull was a large, formidable woman with an angry face. She had the body of an ex-athlete with big shoulders, thick arms and powerful legs. She looked like she would eat children for breakfast. That's mine. I just put that in, but I quite liked it. She wore a brown cotton smock with bottle green breeches, hardly the kind of clothes a teacher would wear. I did write that correctly. When she spoke, she barked angrily and had little patience for anything. Now, I think we could definitely put more into this. I reckon you could write even more than me. I reckon you could probably write me lots more sentences. What I'm really looking for now from you guys is to try and make your work quite cohesive, which is a bit of a strange concept. Rather than me having lots of separate sentences from you, I'd like you now to try and link your ideas together into a paragraph, if you can. For those of you that sent me sentences on Thursday and Friday, that's what I have sent back to some of you as your marking feedback. So that's what we now want to think about, trying to bring our work together so it's not a lot of separate sentences. I'm really looking forward to seeing how you guys get on today and hearing about the Trunchbull and what you think of her and how you're going to describe her. She most definitely is a malevolent character, and she is the last malevolent character that we're going to have a look at for a while. So use up all your evil vocabulary if you can, because she definitely deserves it. Good luck, 4B. Can't wait to see what you produce me. Well done.